I'm going to use the slides to drive it a
Wait,
little bit.
yeah, hold
so-
on, we don't have
okay.
a quorum yet. Councilmember Willie, Councilmember Sinks, are you in the room?
I believe there's been a bio break taken
Oh, okay.
late in the break.
Well, I guess we don't have a quorum.
Not yet.
Adjourn.
These are the biocarbon ones. Do you want me to give one tonight now? Yeah, maybe we probably won't get to that, but hold on to it. I don't know.
Okay, welcome back, Councilmember Willie. Okay, we have a quorum again. We can continue. So Deb, why don't
Yes.
we go through the list and we can comment if there's something we really hate
Yes.
on that list that we
So
should
by
take off.
exception, right? So.
Or if there's just something we think is inappropriate and to be on there.
So I've also decided I'm going to adjust the process a little bit. So once we go through this and we record any strong negative reaction to something, then what the staff will do is we'll bring you back a work program that shows everything you've put back on. We will bump things that come off of equal size and try and equalize between departments, and then we'll bring back something to
And then,
council.
I noticed some of the items that they sound great, but really should be taken up by other entities other than the city.
Okay, do you want to make those suggestions? So here we are
Yeah,
in
as
public
we go
engagement and
through. Okay.
transparency.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, so is this for the next fiscal year or this?
2021.
2020
So are
to
we starting with,
2021.
are we starting from the top?
So we're starting with public engagement and transparency, your first goal, council's
Okay.
first goal. And so the idea here is maybe it's better to look at it from the perspective of what shouldn't be on here, or what council doesn't resonate with council, or whatever,
Okay,
so
so basically, we're going to go through each category and briefly give
top level.
pluses or minuses or
Yes.
whatever, yeah. Okay.
And we'll take notes, and then I'll bring back
Okay.
another work
All right.
program. So let's start with public engagement and transparency. Who wants to start?
Okay. While I don't really care for the current seal and logo, I don't know how much money we should be spending on changing this. Has there been like public outcry over the current logo because of
No,
some of its implications or what?
no, I just hear from members of the public, I hear from staff, I hear from council. Nobody likes the logo.
I'm supportive of making a change.
Okay.
Brian can make some comment about that.
No, I would agree with the city manager, and I thought we heard at the last study session that there was a majority of council that would like to at least take a look at getting a new
Yeah,
city
taking a
seal.
look at it, sure. Yeah, I could support taking a look at it. And figuring out how much that would cost to redo it.
Yeah, well,
So
Yeah.
we have an estimate of about $150,000. Not saying that it would take up all of that, but that is an estimate taken from consultants in other cities that have gone through this process.
Including replacing everything we have logos currently. That might be
That
very
would-
Right.
costly.
We would take a top to bottom, so we would definitely take a look at all of our templates. Yes, absolutely.
And statues and sculptures and all of that.
That's a different discussion, but maybe eventually,
And
yes.
Including the one in China that they put up in their park.
I would not support looking at the logo right now because I feel like all of the item, the title is public engagement and transparency. I think that was the goal that we agreed on. However, I look at these items, most of these are more like PR items. They are not really engagement. Engagement should be two-way communication to actually engage with the residents. I don't see
yeah, so that's exactly
lot
how you
of
would get
that.
a new seal or logo,
And-
is through a
Right.
public engagement process.
Right, okay.
public engagement about the logo. That's
Yep.
not the kind of engagement that's meaningful. And the transparency, again, I don't see a real true transparency.
Can we just,
In here.
can we just go
Right.
down through these and
Sure,
see if there's
okay.
support or not? I mean,
Right, so I would support number one.
So on
John?
number
Johnson?
one, I would toss out, once again, downsizing it. We're talking, I'm hearing that we're talking about replacing all the logo. come back to us with maybe 3 different logos and leave it at that. Maybe even let the Arts Commission do the, maybe a little competition to come up with some. And at any rate, however they come up with 3 possible ones, let us then think about it. And if we were to choose something, anything beyond that should be in next year's process. Just come back over the next 12 months with some potential logos.
That's why it's medium now.
That's still a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So
So-
do I have, so that's 2 negative comments about the logo one.
To me, that means hours taken away from improving meaningful public engagement and meaningful transparency.
I believe Darcy also was supportive of this at our last meeting, but we can. go
Right,
back
well,
and
yes,
take-
we're not really voting now, so you can pull.
Yeah.
It sounds like 2 to 2, you could pull Darcy
Okay.
separately, if that, is that legal, Madam City Attorney?
And
This is going to come back for final approval,
Right,
so
okay.
the city manager can decide how
Okay.
to jigger this and bring it back for the full council to weigh in on.
Okay.
I'm also not negating it. I'm just saying, put it in a reasonable category. Come back with 3 logos. It's going to take that long to do that. And let's worry about, if we pick one, all the ramifications in terms of cost to replace things later.
At that point.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any other negatives on this list?
I don't know about the Small Business Development Center. That seems like something our Chamber of Commerce would be doing, not us. And I also don't really understand the Cupertino Visitor Center,
Yeah,
where we would
I don't
build
know
that or
anything
how much.
about that. Can
What?
somebody say more about what the idea is here?
Where is she? Angela, did you want to comment? Angela Sway?
Hi, Angela Sway, Economic Development Manager. The idea behind the Small Business Development Center was to find a dedicated space to offer counseling from a SBDC counselor, and it would be office hours to help prospective small business or entrepreneurs. So the idea was to find dedicated space and then possibly utilize that space as well as a visitor center. And then at some point, also what was mentioned was perhaps to have city-branded merchandise there as well.
And
Right,
I'd also
okay.
like to note that this item was added by council in the last work program and is carried over to this work program. So if there is a change of heart, that can be accommodated.
Okay, all right, thank you.
There's no estimate here of what this would cost, I guess, in the first phase to investigate. I mean, are we talking about city employees staffing a visitor center, or renting space, or utilizing some city space, or what's? Can
We
you
were
say a
taking a
little
look
more?
at all of the options. Right now, currently, we're so short of space here at City Hall in
Yeah.
terms of meeting space. So we were taking a look at renting space or finding other available space. But yes, staff would need to be there to manage the space.
So my understanding is I think this item was on the council agenda in 2018 or maybe earlier. It was
The work
before
program?
me. And my understanding is this Small Business Development Center is funded by the federal dollars, and the consultants who would be coming in consult with our small business owners would be paid by federal dollars. It will be free consultation for our small business owners, right?
Correct. So the counselors, we would not have to fund the counselors. It would actually just be providing them dedicated space to meet with prospective
So
clients.
why do they need a dedicated space?
To
Why
hold their
can-
office hours?
Why can that be a shared space? That when they have office hours, they can use one of the conference rooms or maybe library meeting rooms.
We could, the challenge is finding regularly scheduled time and space for them.
So-
it doesn't have to be rented, but we're
It could
having
be
a,
like 2 days a week. We allow them to use
I mean, I don't think,
this
it would not even
conference
be
room
2 days a week.
for half a day, something like that. Would that be possible?
It'd be possible if we could find regular, and be able to schedule a space regularly so that the counselors could schedule appointments in advance.
Right, and I know, looking at the meeting rooms, it seems like Fridays, it's very lightly scheduled, that you could probably schedule something regularly, and, you know, because you don't need a big room. This is like one counselor and a few people, right?
Correct.
Each time.
One-on-one usually, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, I mean, as long as it's not costing us money,
So
other
can
than
we
space,
explore?
that's fine.
So you
Can we-
want this one on here, or you don't
Right,
want this one on here?
I thought it was, we were gonna have to hire people ourselves to run this, and, I think their number 6 needs to be separated, though. It's two separate things,
Visitor center and small business.
right? I mean,
Separate from the Cupertino Visitor Center?
right,
Or-
especially if it's not gonna be, I mean, because we don't have any space.
No,
I
we
mean,
don't.
Yeah.
You know, so I think probably drop the visitor center, and the SBDC is gonna have to be in shared space.
Yeah, even the SBD stuff. I mean, Angela's still been looking at our conferencing, and it's just almost too dynamic if you're talking about like our conference rooms. But,
Right, I mean,
so-
I know it's very, very tight, like Monday through Thursday, but
So is there
I've had things, you know, and this doesn't have to be any specific day of the week,
So
right?
generally, then, do I have consensus, you want to leave it on, but split it apart?
I would say, get rid of the visitor center,
Okay.
and the SBDC can continue, but it may not get its own
Okay?
room
Look for non-dedicated
until we get a new
space.
Have we
city hall.
explored a partnership on this with
Chamber?
the chamber? Because, I mean, if I was interested in starting a small business here, I'd probably start there and look at the resources available there. Maybe they're
Okay.
out of space too.
I have discussed it with them, and they are out of space as well.
They're out of space as well. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I mean, I do think, I mean, Stephen has a good point. City Hall is pretty dead on Fridays. If we're looking for some space to schedule meetings on Fridays, could the City Hall work for that purpose?
We'll
I
take
can
a look. So
take a
my
look at
message
the
is
schedule.
that we're leaving it on and making it just
Great.
the SDBC and looking for Friday space, let's say.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to get that specific here, I guess.
And then so on this particular list, I'm down to that plus change to number 1. I'm polling Darcy because we have 2x2.
Right.
Okay?
Okay, and
So
then
the
leadership
visitors-
program.
Just a minute. So the visitor center, I think originally it was so that we can sell some Cupertino branded merchandise. So
Well,
is
you-
that merchandise still one of the items? I'm
Right,
just
look
curious.
up, look up.
If we
on-
feel
So that's
strongly-
still,
Item
right,
4.
so we will just have an online sale component, just not a store, right? Just
Right.
want to clarify
It seems
that.
like, to me, like you could run, if you really felt like you had to sell something, we could do that out of Quinlan or the Sports Center.
Right, exactly.
Where you're already taking revenue, right?
Some,
Right, that's a good point.
You're already selling.
Right,
Yeah.
you already
Services.
you already have point
You
of
could
sale
sell
terminals
merch.
set up there. We don't
Sports
need
center.
we don't need to find a separate
gotcha.
space.
Plus, you can
what
go
I thought
online first.
visitors-
You can go online
Okay.
first before you have physical
And then
presence.
leadership program, is this,
This is
So wait,
supposed
so
to be
what
the
visitor
revamping
center
of
is off?
Leadership 95014.
Right.
Which I heard was in existence maybe 3 or 4 years ago, designed to talk to people or train people who are civic-minded and may
Yeah.
want to have a commission position at some point or not. But we felt like, we were requested to take a look at this year, and it's just too heavy a lift for us to
Yeah.
investigate everything to do it. So the question is whether you want it here or not for 2021.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but it has to be something much better than 95014.
Right. Am I hearing?
What was the problem with 95014?
I mean, from what I heard, it kind of was promoting a specific agenda based on who was running it.
Leadership Mountain has been a construct that we looked at because it engages different the model is that different companies kind of sponsor one person, and for a year they kind of develop together in a cohort from different companies in the area to local government, federal government. They all participated in terms of learning about what's going on in the community. But we haven't been able to look at other models because of the time.
I think, yeah, I looked at different cities. In Sunnyvale, they have a program, but it's sponsored by a grassroots nonprofit. So they focus more on citizens. How do we
Yeah.
get citizens more involved?
Right, yeah, not a
But
corporate and developer
Some
led
cities
thing.
do have, many of
Right.
them have this with cooperation with chamber.
So
then
the-
it has a focus of getting business
Right, so
to
prob-
fund.
instead of
and-
problem solving here, I need to
Yeah.
know if this needs to be
Okay,
on the
yeah,
work
yeah,
program or not.
okay, yeah, keep it on.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm hearing keep it on.
Okay, so let's move to the next slide. So shuttle bus is different than our VIA?
No, we just thought because of the
So
viz, you'd want to see it
if-
on there
Right,
until the end of the
okay.
pilot.
Process question. So if we have additional items for engagement and transparency, should we propose it now or do we do it at the end?
Let's do it at the end. Let's go through this one
Okay.
first because already council has decided to hold some of the 1920 stuff
Right.
over, and that's going to
Right,
push
so you
a
have to
bunch
figure
of
out what
stuff.
to take off.
Correct.
We still do, okay.
So we did leave that there because the end of the pilot is not here yet. Any other comments?
So, well, I have some.
Okay, go ahead, Rod.
Oh, thank you. On the shuttle bus pilot program, I think I'm awed by the success of our program so far and grateful. And I think, I would like to see us put some resource into working with adjacent cities to see if, with their common dollars pooled, we could reach a broader area. And the cities that I think our residents would most appreciate that would actually do the most to impact traffic would be Mountain View and or Sunnyvale.
Yeah, totally support what Rod said. However, this item, shouldn't that be operational already? Why are we having this here that I'm confused?
Because it's a
But what
pilot.
Rod proposed is a new item.
Because it's still a pilot.
It's still a pilot and hasn't gone into, it's implemented, the pilot's implemented, but it hasn't really gone into operation yet. It's a
So then
pilot.
it's less
For
than
18
a
months,
year.
remember, 18
Right,
month
it's-
pilot
it's
started in
temporary,
October.
to put another way, right?
Then
and Mountain-
what Rod proposed is like a separate item we want to expand.
Well, I would just say, I'd welcome,
We're working on that anyway,
Yeah,
right?
we are working
Right.
on that with other
Okay.
cities anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
point taken.
But I agree, Sunnyvale, and, I would like, we already go to a tiny piece of Santa Clara. It might be nice to go to, a place like Santa Clara Caltrain, which, because there's a lot more trains that come through there, ACE, and, anyway, so,
In fact, when Liana was talking about the issue for Kennedy and Monte Vista, I was
Yeah.
almost, with the VTA routes being canceled through
Right.
there or something, I wondered about via shuttle, actually.
right, obviously, we're not gonna get our VTA routes back or any new
Right.
VTA routes. That's just, that's just not gonna happen.
I think what's huge about this is if we get the data to say, as Leanna said, right, we get the data to say, we have incredible demand at 3 p.m. for a shuttle service from A to B. Then we might say, okay, now we can warrant a larger vehicle. So, the advantage of this program for us is we're going to get the data we need. If we say, gosh, we see this tremendous demand coming to and from Caltrain. Right now, we include the Sunnyvale station. There could be a larger vehicle. We're getting enough traffic now that a larger vehicle could be warranted. We could really make hay with that.
Right.
And I think that's the power of what we've done with this.
Yeah, it's really good. So,
Yeah.
any other things on this list that you want to
so
take
one more.
off? Sorry.
Oh, take off, no.
Take off, it's off. transportation goal.
Well, so what I didn't know is whether the regional transformative transit project initiatives include the SR 85 corridor
Yes,
and the 280 Stevens Creek corridor.
yes.
Because that's going to, at least the 85 thing is queued up for a decision probably before the fiscal year end, or at least a recommendation from the PAB to the VTA board. So we are going to have to be very active in both in staff work and council support to drive this, to drive the bus, so to speak, if we want to
And
actually succeed.
Rex and Faster, are they also in this, or?
Well, we're going to be monitoring all those things.
Right,
I mean, we
okay.
specifically highlighted those two projects that Councilman
Yeah.
Sinks referenced, but we're looking at on all regional projects that we could have an impact.
I think
to us.
Rex could have a huge impact for
Yeah.
this community if it was done well.
Yeah.
And it scores better than most everything else that VTA proposed, including BART.
Right,
Yeah,
so-
so the idea is anything that's not listed that has that regional impact, we want to go after.
I know.
So anything on this list coming off, or that looks dumb, or that you don't like somehow, or doesn't resonate with you?
I guess it's okay. I'm wondering if we really need another traffic count, that we already probably know where all this traffic is, but that's fine. It's just a pilot.
Yeah.
It seems
Okay.
like a technology exploration, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
We're going
that's
to
what
try
it
a
is.
different way.
It could be more
Okay.
nimble than what we currently have.
Yeah.
It's worth checking it out.
All right,
Okay.
continue.
Well,
So,
Wait, oh, sorry,
Sorry,
John.
John.
And John has something. Go.
So previously tonight, when I mentioned the,
I don't know if your microphone is on or you're not close enough to it.
Sounds like it's on.
hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I had mentioned, the traffic congestion, traffic impacts everyone in our community. And previously, when we met before, I believe we said that we needed a line item for that. And then earlier tonight, it sounded like, well, it's part of number 3, it's part of number 4. But I think that kind of makes it obscure and doesn't place the importance on it that it needs. Again, traffic impacts everyone in Cupertino, and if people are sitting like out on De Anza Boulevard at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and it takes 4 lights to get through that, signal timing, but what other improvements can be made to relieve some of the traffic congestion? And so I do think we need to make it very clear that we are serious about having improved traffic. Traffic is going to increase. With all the developments, it is going to increase, and yet for us to not be working to address it, to me, just doesn't make sense.
So are you adding something or taking something off?
Adding in the sense of reducing traffic congestion, improving traffic flow. I would see over the next 12 months that city staff would come back with, these are the heaviest congested areas, and hopefully here are some possibilities. It may be better signal timing, or it may be some turnouts for the buses, whatever it is.
So maybe you're adding something like traffic calming, traffic congestion calming at the 3 busiest intersections in the city.
Yeah, I'd hate to limit it to the 3.
Well, you gotta take 3
What can they come back with by the end of the year and tell us that here is the heat map of the city, and for these red hot zones.
You want to know the worst red zones, the worst traffic zones in the city.
Let's start
Okay.
there, and then, use a little creativity with what are some possibilities for relieving those to some degree.
You got it.
And then next year, we can decide
Where?
how to actually implement
Got it.
whatever makes sense.
We got it.
So,
Yeah,
so
so
we have in our proposed operating budget for next year, we'll have a 2-year project to increase the connectivity between our cabinets. As cabinets have been replaced, we've been putting in new Ethernet switches, and we're going to be getting the Ethernet connection to amongst all the cabinets throughout the whole city over a 2-year program. We'll be proposing about $320,000 over the next 2 years to do that. And that will allow us to have more adaptive timing on our signals that we currently don't have. We have synchronized signals, De Anza, Stevens Creek Boulevard, Homestead, and Bollinger now. But we can do more to get the traffic to flow there smoothly. And so that's going to be in our proposed operating budget already. And hopefully we can see up to 5 to 10% better efficient in traffic,
Okay.
which is significant.
Okay,
So
Matt.
that's already there.
Wait, so one thing that people have complained to me about, and we can do all the synchronized and time signals in the world, what it doesn't fix is these blocked intersections at the heavy times. And
Gridlock.
I don't know if that's just enforcement. It's like you see it on Rodriguez and De Anza at rush hour. You can't even get across because everyone has run the red light and is in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah, and that's why you saw the traffic calming paired with enforcement
Yeah,
in that
so
earlier
yeah,
slide.
the
'cause-
enforcement is,
It's a key.
is key, and yet, we don't want to, we don't have the money to start hiring more
Sheriffs
deputies.
or yeah.
But I do agree with you, Councilman Willie, about traffic congestion being so important. I mean, the council's done a good variety of things, whether it's a safe route to school and the VIA shuttle, to help with that, and we are doing that on
Yeah.
the signals as well.
Well, it sounds great, but I think the thing that's missing, though, is an understanding of the metric. How bad was it before? I mean, without that, you're going to get all this data, you're going to go ahead and make some changes, but we don't know how effective it was. How bad was the road segment prior to you making those improvements?
And then afterwards, right?
Yes, yes.
So that's
and
the adaptive traffic, the traffic count stuff would help us.
I want to
what-
see red go to orange. I want to
agree.
see orange
Yeah.
going to yellow,
Well-
so that we can show the people in the
Gotcha.
community, we really do have some numbers behind
Do I
what
have-
we've done.
Do I have two
I agree.
others to add that?
So
What words are you
what
gonna
are we
add?
adding?
I'm sorry, I
What
broke.
words are you going to add?
We're adding, in this first year, a traffic congestion map for the hot areas in the city.
Sure.
And then maybe a second step would be proposed solutions for those
Yes.
areas.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, as long as we recognize that
So
often there are
traffic
no
con-
solutions.
So traffic congestion study and mitigation methods.
Yes,
Okay, all right, sure, I'll vote for that.
okay. Do I have another
Okay,
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
So
Oops.
for number 4 and 5, I'm in the description, just want to clarify. Where are we piloting this signal? Which street? Can we be more specific in the description? Like number 5, some people were concerned about Ricknott Creek Trail, but you said it will be applied to McClellan and Bob Road. So can we be more specific on
In the
where
work-
we are
in the
piloting?
work program wording?
Yeah, where we are piloting this year.
Right, I wouldn't want to put specific streets into
Oh.
into the goals now.
No,
Then we know where we are
But then
trying
it-
to improve.
but then it's not flexible.
So
Yeah.
Councilmember Chow, the yaks, the exact locations haven't been defined as of yet. So one of
Oh.
the things that we could actually look at is pairing this up with what Councilmember Woolley stated and say that, we'll pilot it somewhere small first to see if there's value in what we're collecting, what the numbers show. And if they do, we could then mirror up with Public Works. The data that you're looking for is, how busy are these intersections and at what time of day? Unless you have someone looking at that all the time, you're going to have to require technology to kind of tell you that, and that's where we could use this type of technology.
Okay.
So, but at this point, we haven't defined exactly.
Okay.
This would be a pairing between IT and Public Works to define those locations.
Okay,
Right.
can we,
Next.
can we go
So
faster
housing,
here?
yeah, housing, 1 through 6. Any of these jump out to any of you as
Yeah.
something you would not want to do?
Well, I mean, number one, I mean, the city can help, but I think this is really something for De Anza College to look at. For better or for worse, they are attracting students from all over the region. It's not really a community college for people in our district anymore, where the students live at home and commute to college. If these are regional institutions, and that's what they want to do, is get students from all over the state and region and world, then they really need to be spearheading a housing program for the students. There's limited things we can do. I mean, we don't have money to build more housing. We can do that program where we're trying to find local residents that will rent rooms. But I think that this is really something that has to come from the college.
Any comment, Ben?
Sure. Ben Fu, Director of Community Development. So this is coming from the college. I think at the last the meeting when we bring the homelessness to the council, we received the direction to collaborate with the college and see how we can assist in terms of infrastructure or program management or any of those.
Right,
areas.
as long as they're leading it and
They
we're
are.
like trying to assist them and, as we can.
Okay.
If we're going to do that, with all due respect, the college has been negligent in working with us on transportation. And I would insist that they help us build a transit center on the grounds of either the Oaks or De Anza College that would couple to our SR 85 project. We need land for this. They went ahead and reinforced their garage to the tune of what ended up being $32 million. Would have been an ideal place for buses to turn around and for connectivity to corridor transportation. Now we're looking at an overpass, an overfly on 85, but we're still going to need a connection to local transit services, to Via, to Uber, to Lyft, to buses that bring people more locally once they've come up the corridor. So I'd like to see, if they're asking for our help with this, I'd like
Trade,
to
some
ask
sort
their
of
help with that.
Support
Yeah, I support that.
Recognizing that they're
to have a third?
Because
housing and transportation.
Because
are
really,
intertwined.
one part of the housing problem is the lack of real transit that people can actually use.
So we have
So
a,
if
I
the
agree
ANLAT
with that.
doesn't want to help with transit but want us to help with housing, then
copy, but we got it. We got it, and we added, we got it.
Okay,
And
Anything
so-
else on here?
So as part of
Yeah.
number one, would they also consider the home match program that was mentioned? Someone proposed.
Home match?
Home
Right, the
match.
home match, right. I
That
think
would
that's
match
part of the housing
match
program.
students
seniors.
with
Gotcha,
seniors.
We can add it.
Right.
So would that be part of the
I don't think it has to,
consideration?
I mean, that should be part of the housing program,
Yeah.
because
think
obviously
that would be
we're
promising.
the city's not building dorms, obviously, that would,
So I heard
Be up
two.
to-
Is there a third for that one?
for what?
For adding the home match piece?
I will.
No, I'm
that's
saying,
three.
isn't it already in there as part of
know.
housing program?
No.
No, it's not. But I think as part of number one,
Oh,
if
it's
there's
right here.
if
Next
there's
steps, explore home match program
Exactly.
model. Under next steps. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay.
Any other comments on this particular slide?
What is number 5? Plan out capital costs for future buildings.
so
I
this
I don't
one was also,
understand this.
we also received this as part of our homeless study session last time, and I believe what we heard from the council is that we need to find ways to accommodate the various needs of the homeless population by adding amenities to future city infrastructures and buildings and such. So I guess evaluating ways that we can accommodate amenities for the homeless individuals population.
If that does not sound
We
interesting
talked
to you.
about that.
No, I'm just not clear about, if we built a new city hall, what amenities would we be providing for homeless individuals in a new city hall or?
So that would be part of the study, right? Whether that's we're talking about showers, we're talking about
So how about
facilities.
portable? It seems makes more sense to provide portable facilities because then it's more flexible. It's not a permanent part of the building, and it can be moved around the city.
Yeah, that's
It's
number
still
two.
gonna be
That's
capital,
number
right?
two.
That's number 2, yeah.
Still gonna be-
Mobile, it's maybe basically mobile hygiene services for the homeless.
So
Yeah,
2 and 5 are the same. Just
No.
one is
No.
portable, one is.
No, I mean,
permanent.
I don't understand plan out capital costs, like,
Yeah, so
what does plan out mean? I mean, are you saying why doesn't it just say add capital costs to future buildings?
We could.
We could, we just got that from council, so if you want to take that off, I
Yeah, that's
wouldn't
council's
object.
wording, so.
Add, but we don't know if we are supporting it yet. Why are we adding?
I know, I don't think they should take it out.
We are just studying, right?
Right.
I feel like 2 and 5 should be combined. 2 has a strange title, lack of hygiene services. That shouldn't be a program project
Right,
name.
yeah,
Oh, we'll-
that's not good.
We'll retitle
So
it.
It should
2
However,
be-
and 5 should be, I guess, improve.
Homelessness infrastructure or
to support
Yeah.
the homeless.
facilities for the homelessness, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Something
yeah,
like
it
that.
could be portable
Right?
or
Yeah,
permanent.
yeah, why don't you just
facilities.
say, combine 2 and 5 and just say, provide facilities for the homeless, because it could be a, you know, it
Could
could
be
be a
anywhere.
navigation center.
Yeah,
be.
we'll figure out which way
Yep.
makes sense.
We'll do a
right?
study first, though. Yeah, gotcha. Okay,
And we'll get money from the state for that.
how about this
right?
one?
Okay, right, so we are gonna do the study session for
Yes.
RENA.
That's,
Yeah, number
So-
9 is wrong, because we never said that 10301 Burn is gonna be any specific kind of housing. I mean, it could be ELI, and it could be,
we did,
it could be low income, or it could be moderate. It's-
I do think the common
Which
thing
one?
that everybody remembers is for the,
Oh.
the mentally disabled. Is that,
And
was that the
why-
common
Right,
thing?
that's for the, that was supposed to be Mary Avenue.
Yeah, how come
I think it's both.
Mary is not
No.
included here?
I mean,
It
the way I
seems-
remember
It's
it,
not our
Mary
project.
Avenue was for the ELI, and Byrne Avenue, when we bought that property, it was like, oh, maybe we can build some Habitat for Humanity units on there, maybe 6 or 4, to replace the existing house. I
Wait,
So we do
never
wanna-
remember that.
So do you want to retool that then? I
Well,
mean,
I wouldn't exclude ELI, but I would,
how would you change this
I
then?
would get rid of 1031 Byrne Avenue. Just say,
Scratch it.
engage with philanthropic organizations to build ELI housing units,
Okay.
period.
so
Duly
not
noted.
specify location.
Right,
Yeah,
not
that's good.
addresses.
That's good.
Because I think also even whether it's Byrne Avenue or Mary Avenue,
Doesn't matter.
both of these have never been formally scheduled as an item for the council to discuss, or even what we should do with it. Maybe it was discussed when it was purchased.
Right, when we purchased
but
it, we discussed
never
it.
really discussed even Mary Avenue.
Even when we purchased that, we said, let's purchase it while it's for sale, and we'll decide
Right.
we'll decide what to do with it at a later time.
I
We
mean,
just
the-
had to get it at that time.
The
Right.
primary reason we bought it, of course, that home,
Right.
is so that we could expand access to
To Blackberry Farm.
Blackberry
Okay.
Farm, which I think is still the primary
Yep.
thing. But then we
Yes.
said, well, it could be that then we have the ability to also build something. And I mean, from where I'm coming, I think ELI housing and services surrounding ELI housing is important. But I also would make a case for moderate below market rate income units
Yeah.
of the kind that teachers need in our community.
And especially on that side of the city where we have so little BMR or affordable
Yeah,
housing.
that's true.
Because there's just, there's
Okay.
no, okay, so
We got
that's
the
good.
message on that one.
Yeah.
Wait, so
Is there support for adding BMR to this?
Well, there's another, hold on.
So number 9 is specifically for ELI. If we remove Bryan Avenue from here, I think we still need to figure out what to do with Bryan Avenue quickly.
Right, but that,
But that'll be,
Maybe it will be a separate item for moderate income. So
Well,
it's
all
not-
I'm
No,
suggesting is
We
you
can
can
bring
take
it
item
back.
9 and say, engage with philanthropic organizations to build moderate income and ELI housing,
Okay.
yeah,
City.
that's good.
That's
okay.
good.
right?
Yeah.
Not being location specific. and-
Okay,
And of course, when the time comes to decide what to happen on Byrne Avenue, we will bring it
Yeah,
back
right.
to council.
and we
Fair
should
enough,
do
fair
this
enough.
pretty quickly. I mean, that's been empty for
A while,
a while.
yep. We're waiting for all of the separations to happen on the property. Okay,
So I had one more on
Yeah.
Oh,
housing
okay.
strategies before you go on. So I actually agree with the advocates that have been here that sent us the letter. I think we ought to be looking at upzoning strategies that would help us um, produce incentives that could actually yield real projects in the nearer term. So I know a lot of our discussion is focused around how do we make sure that things don't happen where we don't want to have them happen, and so that's fine. But I think we ought to be systematically looking at strategies that put housing where we could realistically think it should go, and that probably, in this climate where construction costs are high and there are other opportunities, probably is going to require us to look at upzoning in places.
Is there an ad there, or?
Well, I guess housing strategies sounds, I know that's the item that came from the Housing Commission, and it's great, but there are no meat on them bones, right? It's kind of hollow without anything specific. So I'm proposing
Says
something
explore
there
the-
that would be specific.
It says explore the development of strategies that provides a variety of products across affordability levels, including housing for the developmentally disabled, as well as those with moderate, low, very low, and extremely low income, continued from the 1920 work program.
So I think we ought to have a serious discussion about where we would want to upzone in the city to produce more housing, because we're clearly not getting it. I mean, that point has been made.
Well, I mean, we are going to have to do that as part of the next RENA cycle. Because obviously, there's no empty land. Something is going to have to be upzoned to meet the new RENA numbers, so.
I think the question is whether you want to get ahead of it or just wait until 2022.
So the comment I would toss out is that previously, in one of our previous council meetings, we talked about some of the buildings that Apple was maybe vacating over on Bub and keeping it for small commercial type stuff. Well, I would say, those would be ideas to add as kind of mixed use with residential units above those things, and so ask city staff.
That could be a good example. Right?
Yeah, so ask city staff to be looking at those types of things and know that we would entertain adding zoning for adding residential to be a part of that.
So ABAG, in that meeting I went to 2 weeks ago, they did say, start looking at place sites now for rezoning.
Yeah,
And it
that's
sounds
true.
like this jives with what Rod is suggesting. And sure, I think getting ahead of it and following their suggestion to start talking to these property owners of, to be honest, obsolete buildings, including along Bub, is something we should do. And it would also, those also happen to be the areas where, I guess some of the under-enrolled school, well, at least one of the under-enrolled schools, Regnart, is over in that area.
So we can add,
The other ones are not within Cupertino.
So we're going to add something specific to item number 8, housing strategies.
It feels like we need a separate item because this is more like identifying potential sites for the next RENA cycle,
Oh, you can put that.
right? Because number 8 is more about strategy. It talks about linkage fee.
Or we can put it under number 7. Or
Well,
just
you,
add it.
Yeah, so
you could simply say
housing.
among these could be, upzoning.
Yeah, why don't we expand
Okay,
number
yeah.
7
Number
to
7.
something about evaluating sites in the expectation of the next RENA cycle, and housing strategies needs to. That's kind of vague,
Okay,
I think.
yeah.
I mean, can we come up with?
And we added that to number 7,
You added what to number
the
7?
one that you just stated.
Right. Okay. Right.
Evaluate
Okay.
sites for potential upzoning
Right.
under RENA cycle.
I'm just wondering if the council would entertain upzoning things in this next fiscal year and not waiting till the cycle begins. Because, item to me suggests we're going to get there someday. right? With
So you're
the
talking about the
cycle.
2021 cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
that's what
remember,
they're adding it.
remember, unfortunately, the way RENA works is we won't get credit for things that we build now for the next cycle.
I
And
think
we're
your,
not
I think our
penalized.
office can analyze that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it's
okay.
entirely true.
Okay, so, yeah, when we were at the RENA at the ABAG meeting, that was brought up, and it was, you actually don't get well, your numbers would reflect what you didn't build, but you're actually not required to go back and build what you didn't build in the previous cycle and the next cycle.
Yeah.
You
me
just
put-
can't reuse those sites.
Let me put it this way. Stephen has tried to defend the city. Prior councils, in my humble opinion, did a responsible job in allocating RENA and in setting developers to build, and we haven't seen the projects come through, okay? If we want to make a statement to the state about what Cupertino cares about and that we are sincere about doing housing, I would look for new opportunities to upzone in the next calendar year before the end of 2020. And I would,
In this work program cycle.
yeah,
Right,
and,
yeah.
and I would get serious about taking action and blunting the criticism that we don't care about housing. That's it.
Actually, as part of our consideration for the GPA gateway process, I think at that time in 2015, one part of the study was other cities, they consider different levels of upzoning. If you upzone to like 1.0 far, you get this. If upzone to 2.0 far, you get this. So that might be something we can consider. When we upzone, there is give and take. We don't just give upzoning for free. With that level, we get this percentage of BMR housing, for example.
Gotcha.
So I think we need to let the city attorney's office evaluate the impact in terms of the next RENA cycle. 'Cause we don't want to take all of the land that we could use in the next RENA cycle and then have it made unavailable for that cycle.
Yeah, we've added.
And, I appreciate Rod's point about, what certain people in the state say about us, but on the other hand, some people believe what they say, and some people are smart enough to understand that, they say it because their handlers are telling them to say it, and there's actually no truth to it. So, let's let the city attorney look at
At
the
that.
impact of what would happen if we rezone before that, if we lose that land for the RENA cycle.
So one more thing for number 7, the RENA cycle. Can we also take a look at the job housing statistics? And because there are numbers being thrown around about that, exactly what's our job housing ratio and how much have increased. Some people are using a number of this much increase from 2010 to 2018. However, I think we lost 9,000 jobs
Right.
when HP closed.
And that's being
So
looked
if we-
into by,
if-
we are evaluating that. We're getting the numbers of the jobs lost and gained during each year and the housing
Yeah.
units each year. We don't have that number yet. We're getting it from the state. And, actually, that's an important number to know for the
Yeah.
RENA cycle. I don't even think the people doing the RENA numbers
Know
know
that.
that for
Yeah.
each city.
And then for number 7, right now the project title is Study Session for Impact and Requirement for the Next RENA Cycle. I hope we are more proactive. We are not just, they decided the number, we are studying. I hope it's more, we do our own homework. Here are the numbers, and we provide them to HCD so that they have good numbers on job and housing analysis. And so that when they decide on these
Right.
numbers,
As I just said,
we
we
are-
are getting those numbers. We do
Yeah.
not have them now. Yeah.
thank you. So
And
I
it's
hope
in
this,
process.
we can revise the description to be more accurate, reflect
We
what
will.
So I would
mayor
not
says.
oppose proactively rezoning before RENA as long as it doesn't hurt us in RENA.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Sustainability.
Okay.
Anything on here that you want to come off for whatever reason?
Can you define number 8?
Roger?
Yeah, that's the municipal water system. So as you know, the lease is going to be expiring in
Okay, so this is
November.
looking at the lease,
Yeah,
what to do with the city-owned system when the lease expires
Exactly.
with San Jose Water.
That's right.
Okay.
What would help, I mean, to me, we've jumbled environmental things
We
with
have.
fiscal things.
Well,
If you want what to keep one category, fine, but could we at least reorder these things?
Yeah,
so
we'll
we
reorder 'em.
got 'em
Right.
at the
I
table?
just
It's
didn't
too weird.
reorder, I just didn't reorder them because we had already published these.
Yeah, okay.
So the lines, the numbers kind of correlate to the
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Yeah,
so
I
we
mean, the
will reorder.
single-use plastics ordinance and the climate action, right, that is sustainability.
Sure.
Alternatives to City Hall is something completely different.
We will
It may be
rename as
just
we had,
another category, or
yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about that earlier and we took notes already.
financial health, or whatever.
Yeah, but are there any items on here that you'd like to come off? Or are you okay?
Or add.
Yeah, I thought we are adding
Well,
later.
first is what's
I'm
coming off?
holding
Okay,
Anything?
yeah, I don't see anything to come off there.
So,
Okay.
so we have climate action plan update here. I'm just curious because I remember I was told we will be updating bike pedestrian plan this year also. Are we still doing that?
Isn't that CIP?
I don't see
I'm sorry, one more time.
Bike ped plan.
bike ped plan.
Update.
I remember earlier last
Right.
year I was told we will be doing update.
That had been our intent to do that this coming fiscal year. It's just challenging for us to do it. We're not planning on proposing it for next fiscal year right now.
So that's not proposed.
Right. I mean, we're really focusing
Okay.
on delivering the projects and not updating those plans at this time.
Okay. So what's the regular period that we do update?
About
What do we
5 years is
expect?
the average. The PED plan was done, or the bike plan was done in 16. The PED plan was done in 18. And
Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
So for number 3, what exactly is that?
So it's on
Why
here.
are we
the
doing
procurement
that?
program.
So this item is to have the city look at their procurement practices and create some policies around whether we purchase sustainably. We do have a policy existing, but we want to update it as it hasn't been looked at in several years.
To codify more
what does that
sustainable
mean?
Why
processes
is
and
that?
procurement.
Why is this not an operational item?
Yeah, what does this mean?
Why does that have to do with the council?
It can be operational. We were just moving it here in case it was something that you wanted to see in terms of what we're doing, and we would think we would want to bring it
What
to
is this?
council.
As a practical matter, what the heck is this?
It's a policy to kind of create guidelines in terms of when we purchase things such as office supplies or even fleet vehicles, what kind of considerations for sustainability when we make those purchases.
I mean, don't the department heads, I mean, isn't this something that
We can do this.
they would implement, or?
So is there an existing ordinance adopted by the council earlier? Is that why it's put here, so we are revising that?
It's more like,
It's just a
I'll
policy.
just take it operationally and I'll do the policy update. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Okay,
And-
great.
So climate action, when did we adopt the plan? Just so I,
15, 16?
earlier?
So Gilly, our sustainability manager is coming.
Okay.
Hi, yeah, Gilly Corral, Acting Sustainability Manager. The last Climate Action Plan update was in 2015.
Okay.
And so we're proposing in line with,
So a 5-year
yeah, it was
update.
5 years ago.
Oh,
So, and since 2015, there have been substantial changes in state policy and best practices, and this would bring our climate action plan in line with that, adding adaptation and environmental justice and equity, and other elements that have been added through state legislation and best practices since that time.
Okay.
So do we have we gotten an inventory since 2015, a formal inventory or not?
Yes, we've had, our most recent formal inventory was completed using data from 2018.
Okay, all right.
And as part of the update for a climate action plan, you also update the goals and greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah.
That's part of the consult process, so, and being pegged to state level goals.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of moving parts. I'm supportive of doing this.
So
Okay.
are we going to also get update on existing programs, how it's been performing? For example, I've been wondering about the loan reconverging rebate program. How many people use it? And so would we get updates about this kind of existing program?
Yes, we
That
did.
would be-
We provided a more higher level update through our climate action plan report last year, but part of this climate action plan would be, yes, a comprehensive review of existing programs in light of technological changes and updates, and yeah, we can provide that as well. If the city council wished to have a update of 2019 data for the climate action report, that could be completed as well. For programs such as you're speaking of the landscape rebate program through Valley Water. Is that what you mentioned specifically?
Yeah, I think the city also pays $1 per square foot of converging, right? So I'm wondering how many people are using that. Do we need to do more promotion or helping to provide better, make it easier for people to use that?
Yeah, that's also part of our operations is outreach, and we're staffing up, filling in vacancies from the environmental side for outreach, and are taking up promotion of the Valley rebates as part of that as well. So
So is
Okay,
this
thank you.
item on or off?
So good.
Is which on
It's
or off?
on. It's on.
She's
It's
asking a
on.
question, okay.
Yeah, so we need to get
So-
going on to quality of
yeah.
life.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, again, first is off. Anything on here that needs to come off?
Oh, wait. So number 6, trash collection, we need to clarify that it's
Right, she
public
was already
trash,
gonna
right?
We already
clarify
noted
that,
that,
yeah. Okay,
So
go.
review property tax share, what exactly we are trying to do
So
here?
right now, we're a 7% property tax share city, and I want it to be like some of the other cities at
Right.
15%. Apparently,
Oh,
it's a
we can do
pretty
that.
big lift, and will probably take legislation, but I
Right.
don't know what the requirements are, and I think we need to investigate it.
Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point. Okay. Can we now go to quality of life? Thank you.
Yes. Say, under air quality and noise, anything that needs to come off? Public safety?
I'm not sure the secondhand smoke exposure is that big of a concern.
I can't hear a word you're
I
saying.
mean, the secondhand smoke
Right,
exposure.
number one, I don't think that's,
Do we
I don't
have
think
time
that-
for that?
I don't think we need that on there. It's
Okay.
not a big issue.
Do I have a third? That's
in our
two.
And
city.
it's medium.
Okay, that's a third.
Okay.
Take it off.
Um,
Public safety? Okay.
At the same time, I would say number
Your microphone is missing. Okay.
the pollution monitoring, I think I'd sure like a little more detail there, because that would be a very important aspect for Lehigh. So more detail there. Maybe say we're going to pilot over near the Lehigh plant, something
It says
to.
right here, utilize Internet of Things sensors to measure particulate and pollution levels, and certainly we could put that pilot near,
Yeah.
Right, well, it will
Near
be,
that
it will be
neighborhood, right?
not just near Lehigh.
it'll be all over.
Yeah, I would caution you to think about it this way. We have a stack at 300 feet. So while there's some localized dust and other
Right,
impacts,
a lot of it goes
the
on
bulk of the
elsewhere.
impacts are going up into the atmosphere, and some of it ends up collecting like in East San Jose. So this is a regional problem.
Yeah.
Having said that, the thing that is local and quite important actually to human health is the impact of truck traffic. So those diesel trucks and people that are going to school near or living near or working near major corridors are adversely impacted
So that's
by
where we
diesel
could deploy
particulate
these.
matter. So, Lehigh could be interesting when they have a blow up, monitoring citywide what's going on with them. But you should know that it's not just the folks who live around there that are impacted
Yep.
health-wise. And the truck traffic is of growing concern to the air district. So
My understanding, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but this pollution monitoring is at street level, so we could probably get this kind of truck pollution and things at the very least in those neighborhoods that are affected.
I think it would be very informative, right, to have some on these major corridors. So, for
Yeah.
example, Foothill Boulevard, where these trucks come up
Yeah.
and down, and may help make our case to the county that they really ought to be
Doing
circumspect
something.
about allowing any more truck traffic.
Okay, so I hear that it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
make sure that it is
Yes.
not just Lehigh, but, yeah, that's a
Everything.
good point. And I don't think it was ever going to be just Lehigh.
You
It
know,
was
for
gonna
major
No.
corridors, which
Yeah.
include the freeways and Stevens Creek Boulevard, our major arteries, the fact that we have not fixed our regional transportation problem is creating health impacts here. And that is people and trucks and all kinds of vehicles, because of the congested freeway, making their way onto our major arterials within the city, and even going by some schools.
Okay,
Right.
so it's on.
Yeah, okay.
Capital O. Okay, so
Continue.
number one, we have to, Katie has some input for it before we,
Okay,
before
sure,
council.
go.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that this item was kind of in response to our tobacco policies effort we did this year. There was some discussion of our grade, how do we get that grade up to an A? These are the policies that are necessary to do that, and it's, if the council wishes to remove it, that's okay. I also just wanted to let you know that that's kind of where it came
Manage
from.
expectations, right?
And
I
also.
think we've taken great leadership on vaping, frankly.
And we
I
did
think-
receive a grant to pursue it, but we can.
So
not.
this is like an apartment building banning smoking in apartments.
In
so-
multi-unit
Because
housing.
it might affect someone else in the building.
Or a wider corridor at the exit to commercial buildings.
This is under city manager's. This is under city manager's office, so
Yes.
I guess if there is capacity, we could keep it.
We also got a grant already
And we
for
have a
it.
grant
Oh, we
to
did.
Okay,
implement
so yeah, let's put
right?
it back. If we have a
Whatever.
grant to do
So
this.
in case there is no capacity, then we can consider removal.
Yeah.
The smoke includes diesel particulate matter. That's particularly cool.
Okay.
Okay.
And number three.
Any more,
Number three, I noticed that a gas-powered
oh yeah, we have to talk
leaf
about this.
blower, it's under community development. In case we don't have capacity, could be removed. I think it's the other thing that we want to keep from this year is more important, because these things, if we don't do, something might happen permanently for development projects. So we should fix that first.
So
And
you're proposing to
gas-powered,
take 3 off?
in case we don't have, so this would be lower priority
Than the other stuff in
than
CDD?
the other stuff we
I
have to keep.
agree.
Yeah.
Agreed?
I agree that it's.
Do I have a third?
For me, it's a lower priority.
Okay, there's a third.
Right, how big was that? I don't see that.
It's number 3 on under quality of life. It is
It's
Small.
small.
Small,
but
right.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought because it was small, we would just leave it on, especially you're going to essentially copy an ordinance from another city and.
But
Hopefully.
because planning is already very busy, that's why
So I
I'm
would
concerned.
You'll get a lot of people that are upset.
I would be
Either before you
remiss-
do it or after.
But I would also be
So-
remiss in mentioning at this point in time that there was some talk amongst council about also adding other gas-powered lawn equipment, and I just want to make sure that
Oh, I
everybody
would be
decided
opposed
to
to
not
that.
do that. Is that true?
Because the big issue with leaf blowers, it's not the gas per se, it's the noise.
It's the noise.
And, yeah, you're unlikely to be able to, and they go for long periods of time. I think it's different than a lawnmower.
Okay, I just wanted to bring
or
it
an
up
edger.
because it was spoken to, people brought it up more than once, more than one council person.
Yeah,
So there was
they're-
some
they're
talk about that,
certainly
and I just wanted to
heavily
deliberately,
polluting.
excuse me, Rod?
They
Sorry.
pollute these gas
Right,
things.
a lot of them
Yeah.
are
pollute a lot.
two-cycle engines too, which is even worse.
But I have an electric mower, and it also is fairly noisy. I mean, it's not quite as noisy as the gas one.
So I'm
But
hearing.
I bought it for pollution reasons, not for,
So I hear we're
noise.
keeping 3, but we'll prioritize it lower than other CDD work.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine with me, fine.
Okay, next.
Okay.
Are we adding anything to this? Okay.
Air quality and noise.
Are we
let's
talking
see.
about adding now? Because
No,
we-
we're
Kinda
gonna
doing
talk,
it
we're gonna
as
add
is,
later.
yeah.
Let's
We're
just,
at-
Add later,
kinda- yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Public safety,
Yeah.
anything? Okay. Next, quality of life section. Anything to come off here?
I thought the pilot for the dogs off the leash was already taken care of.
Oh, that's ongoing right now?
Yeah.
7.
the pilot's going now, right.
I thought we are
This-
keeping the pilot like the VIA shuttle, right?
This item is to identify additional areas suitable for permitting dogs to be off
Right,
leash.
and we should
So in
do
addition
that.
to the Jollyman
Oh.
pilot area.
Okay.
what in the world is number 10?
Right, I would take
It's
number
really,
10 off.
it's too
I mean, this is,
down in the weeds, so to speak.
10.
Okay, agreed. 10 is off.
Patron survey, huh?
Did I get a third on that? Was that 3 of you? Okay, that's a
Oh,
third.
I think like number 9 also and number 10. These are really operational items that the commissions usually will consider every year anyway. And we are adding them here because were added to the commission work program. But then to the council, these are not new
Significant.
items.
I would agree with that.
yeah, that's a really
They're
good
they're
point.
two
There's
So
the
9 and
council work
10.
program and the commission work
Yes.
programs.
The two should be
gotta-
aligned, but maybe
Yeah,
not
there
duplicated,
was
right?
confusion that if it's not on the council program, commission cannot work on
Gotcha.
it. But then now, that's why we need to
That's
clarify.
what they normally do,
They
right?
have their operational item they can continue to do.
Yeah,
I
the
think we're in
library
violent
commission
agreement.
is free to have coffee talk meetings. It doesn't have to involve the
Decision.
That's part of
council.
our work program.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any other takeaways on this one? Or,
Take them away.
Okay,
Okay.
Roll.
okay.
So like teen center advocacy and awareness, that's also a teen commission
We got it. We
they
got it.
want to
Yeah,
do, right?
yeah.
Do we,
For teen center, number 8.
Right, yeah,
we-
that's a teen commission or
keep
a
it?
yeah.
Doesn't need to be on this one.
But it does require, I guess, staff resource to help advocacy, so we need that
But that's
to be
true of
part of
any
the
of the
council.
commission.
Yeah, every single one of these needs that, though.
Yeah,
So,
okay. We took the 8, 9,
Yeah.
and 10 off.
Okay.
Next.
Oh, now we have a
9
lot of space
but
for
then we
more
need to
stuff.
clarify, it's not we don't want the commission to work
Yeah,
on
No,
we
it.
we
no.
got we
Yes,
got
we'll
it.
handle it.
That's okay.
We'll handle it. Okay, so access to goods and services, targeted marketing programs, anything to come off of this particular item, although along the lines of Councilmember Chow's earlier remarks on the teen and other commission stuff, 21, 22, potentially, maybe even 20 come off.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the expertise for number 13.
Number 13.
Where are we gonna, the targeted marketing program to assist small businesses?
Angela Sway will comment.
Yes, for that item, so feedback to help small businesses has been providing assistance for their marketing. And so this was to evaluate and look at possible programs and maybe grants to help small businesses market their businesses.
So the city would apply for grants on behalf of small businesses or help them apply?
Help them apply, or perhaps put together some type of program where perhaps we are not supplying a grant, but looking into a program that would, a subscription program where businesses can be a part of at a reduced cost to be able to market their businesses using social media platforms.
Actually, along similar line, but what I've been thinking is the city could provide small business, for example, when with our Sing program or like what we have been doing with Coffee Talks. The city has a way of reach out to a lot of residents, and if we can find a way to use our existing venue but then find a way to use our existing channel of communication to help small businesses.
So, Leon, are you in
especially the
favor
new
of
ones.
number 13 or not? We don't need
I
On
to.
or off?
I think I'm in favor of a different type of number 13.
Okay, well, then you can add it, then we go to adding things then. Okay,
It's
all right.
Back to
So,
number,
John,
Yeah, John?
back to number 13 though. It kind of seems like this crosses over with Chamber of Commerce. I mean, why would they come to us when the Chamber of Commerce is really the expert?
Well, we're just providing more assistance as the city
yeah.
to our local businesses.
Just a comment, a lot of small businesses are not a member of
That's
chamber
true.
because
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
expensive.
expensive. A lot of small businesses might be like a stay-at-home mom who are starting their own like craft shop, right? So they don't really know a lot about how to do a business or how to market. They can't afford to hire a professional. Then here is where the city might provide some help.
So is
So
13
maybe what I proposed earlier could be add in the description. I think the description is okay for the project objective, which is developing the launch program to assist marketing local
Small
small
businesses.
businesses. And it could be using city channel or not, right? So maybe including using existing city
Resources or
communication
something.
channels.
I actually think, I mean, where I've seen this done effectively in other jurisdictions, it's more been programs and things on how you can increase your online presence, right? How you can come up in searches. How does Yelp work if I'm starting a restaurant? These kinds of things, because that's in fact where people are getting their information from. Yeah, they may get it from a feed on a city channel, but I think it's more, marketing that the businesses would do that primarily is reflected online. And I don't know if you have any thoughts.
We do
Angela,
offer
about-
workshops throughout the year.
Yeah.
We partnered with Google last year
Yeah.
to offer workshops to our small businesses, just as you were saying, using their analytics.
So this,
and
would that fall under this rubric?
No, this was
This is something
intended to be
more.
a separate program.
So am I leaving this on or am I
Yeah,
taking
just leave it
off?
on.
Okay.
Okay.
Leave it-
I'm fine.
Anything else?
Anything
So
else to come
Google
off?
workshop was offered by chamber, right?
Conditional
That was a partnership with the chamber,
Oh.
the city and the chamber, yes.
So if you look at underneath the other category, any of those need to come off?
What is evaluate conditional uses? Are these
Yeah, what the heck is
the
that?
conditional use permits or?
Yeah.
Yes, the
Yes.
conditional permit. So we had a long-standing item that we've been dying to work on, and that is to examine the outdoor seating requirement that requires a conditional use. So that's been an item that's been sort of on hold many years. And what this one does, proposed by the Planning Commission, and what we agree is kind of look at not just the outdoor seating requirements, but also other things that require a minor use permit.
Okay, all right, fine. And what is evaluate the R1 ordinance? Evaluate it for what?
Evaluate to see if the changes could be made, updates could be made to the ordinance. That's a single-family ordinance.
Right, I know what it is, but. I mean,
So looking at either streamlining a review, we heard some comments from the public, and something that the Planning Commission also consider as well is, one, the process and the timing for developing, for the process of the single-family permit, as well as second-story balconies and decks and things like that. We've been receiving a lot of comments on that and how that's potentially causing a lot of time and
Is that some of the
process.
comments that came out of the DRB, right?
Right, so like maybe the percentages of second story or,
So the intent is to help streamline the process to make it more clear.
If that is, yes, correct, for one part of it. And the second part is to look at balconies and decks and see if those, is there a way to looking at them in terms of process, review process, approval process. The commission was concerned about.
Was this driven out of the privacy concerns?
of balconies?
Yeah, I think we've been receiving a number of appeals
Gotcha.
for approval. So the commission wanted us to take a look at that policy. If there's any way to update or change and modify that could maybe limit the amount of appeals.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see.
So
Review Environmental Review Committee, what
why-
That
is
was,
that?
we were requested to expand the role of, or the scope of the ERC,
Okay,
and so we need time to do that. So that's,
right.
I assume you want that to stay on.
yeah.
shouldn't we also look at Economical Development Committee? That scope.
Yeah, that's in the work program now, so we don't need to
That's,
do it again.
Wait, what? That's
It's in the current work program.
This year's
Yeah.
work program.
Right.
So
1920,
we
not-
will get to it
Yeah.
this year. Okay.
Yep.
So for 16, are they going to consider like R2, R3 also, or just limited to R1?
Right now, we're looking
This
at
is
just
R1.
limited to R1. I think that's big
That's
enough
enough.
of a task
Yeah.
at the
Oh.
moment. But
Okay.
yeah, if there's a need, we'll certainly come back in future years to look at other ones.
I'm glad this will come to fruition after my time is up, because I'll just relate the story briefly. When this came up, when I joined the council, the city had recently revised its R1 ordinance, I believe, and it was a very noisy and painful process. So good luck to all of you. That's all I have to say about that one. I had a question, but so is the mobile service vendor code amendment, is that a revenue opportunity for us? Is that why we would do it?
Say, ask me again.
The
what-
mobile service vendor.
14.
Yeah, 14.
It is basically, mobile vending services have changed a lot since our Muni Code went into place. And so for.
People come and fill gas tanks.
Yeah,
they
or
come and
people that
shine
come and do
shoes.
any kind of service in your driveway. Right now, our code requires that they have a business license and a solicitor's license, which becomes cost prohibitive to small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to adjust it so it's current like every other city's code. Maybe it's a
So
business.
we're more
li-
restrictive.
Yeah, and this is not, this is like by appointment kind of services.
Do we collect taxes from these folks?
Yeah,
Business tax, yeah.
business tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Right, there's no sales tax on the services, are there? Right, okay.
So under other, I'm drawing your attention to 20, 21, and 22.
Right, should those be under the Fine Arts Commission, or?
It's a good question. It's along the same lines of Councilmember Chow's remarks.
Yeah, I
from
agree.
before.
Yeah,
If-
let's move those,
If I may,
Okay, sure.
our department doesn't have a fine arts division, so in order to carry out projects and programs, we have to utilize the existing staff. So we've been utilizing the planning division, one of the 7 planners.
Wow.
So I think if you're thinking about you want to support these efforts, I would recommend we keep it on the WIP program.
Oh, so you
Because
can
it does
see it.
have
This
some
is too-
time and
this-
resources.
this is all
but
very
why is the
too
planning
specific.
department doing this?
Because we don't have an
Because we don't have a
art.
fine arts division.
Right, but, I mean, this would seem to be more like Parks and Rec
Yeah.
than,
Why not Parks and Rec?
Sure.
Well, I think
You won't get an objection
traditionally-
from me.
right, traditionally, we say commercial buildings, we take 1% for public art, right? And so planning is involved from that
That
aspect. How does
perspective.
the art fit into the project? So that's probably why.
But right now, your folks facilitate that commission, correct?
We have one person that does that,
Is
but
it-
we'd be
it's
happy
Eric.
to collaborate
With what
with the
fraction of their
Rec and
time?
Park Department.
It's
What,
all-
Yeah.
what fraction of their time is spent doing art commission work?
Well, the art in unexpected error places has been a work program item for this year, the current year. So this will be the 2nd year running. The other 2 are new items, so you're looking at probably tripling the time. But
I'm
it's
not
a huge
arguing
amount of
about
time.
whether the art commission shouldn't have resources to go do programming. I'm just saying, at this level in our work program, I wouldn't. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know. It feels like this is far down in the
It's-
weeds.
Yeah, it seems art in unexpected places is ongoing operational.
I don't care.
And then
yeah, I
20
mean, with the shortage of planners, why are we
Exactly.
tasking the planning department with this?
So we'll have to take a look at 20, 21, and 22 and see if we retool it for Parks and Rec management. Is
Right,
that the direction?
okay,
I don't know.
So, number 19.
Public Works.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. Number 19 is what exactly is number 19?
Number 19.
Sure. Residential mixed-use design, residential design guideline standards. We're seeing other cities having design guidelines to provide more clear definitions, what we expect to see from a development. You see Palo Alto has some, San Jose has some. These are just design guidelines that we think could provide some design standards, if you will, for these type of projects.
And I would also just say this is one of the priority items that came out of the objective
Yeah, thank you.
standards evaluation.
Okay,
Great, that sounds good.
all right.
So I would like to propose that all of these items we revived from the last attachment. I think
What last
they-
attachment?
The 1920 program.
The undone
I
ones?
think, yeah, the development accountability, heart of the city plan, the objective standards. I think these have higher priorities than
A lot of these?
a lot of these items that fall under
Fair enough.
community development that we see here.
So I would propose the following, is after we go through this last piece, then what we'll do is staff will take all of the items you decide to keep from 1920. We will incorporate it into the 2021 work program and update it and bring it back.
Okay, so this is the last slide, right?
Yep,
So
that's the
now
last
we
one.
can go back and if
You've
there's
done some
the-
ads along the way, so we
Right,
can just
but if there-
re-review.
But I think Councilmember Chow has some more ads, so
Yeah.
we can decide what, and,
Do we
and,
have more public comments?
no,
We can't
public
do- we
comments
can't
are
do
already
public
closed.
comments.
Okay.
So, when you do propose your ads, please also say what you're taking off, and,
I
for
thought
that
the
ad.
staff would be determining that, right?
No, we have to decide what to take off when
Okay.
when
We
we add
could-
something.
Or
One
staff-
thing I don't, okay,
Are we going back to the original, what category are we going back to?
I don't know where this belongs, but I feel that there's something, a big gap here. There is nothing about seniors. Senior center, as I heard, advisory board is kind of dying off. And then I think we need a community member proposed that we need more senior programs at the De Anza College, or that so that seniors have more learning opportunities. That's beyond what the current senior center is offering. And also senior caretakers. Seniors need a lot of caretakers, and it's harder and harder to find them. So can we maybe have more training so that younger seniors can take care of older seniors, but maybe they need, we can help provide more training to help them take care of seniors. So
I actually
that's
heard
what
that,
they
I
propose.
actually heard that the Senior Advisory Committee, I think is what it's called, is
Mhm.
getting revamped now because of the
Revamped.
condition it was in, right? Randy,
So-
we just got contacted about that, and maybe we can suggest this item to them.
I think we need an item so that we look at senior services in the city.
Maybe under,
I don't know what it will take
yeah,
up, but I
somewhere.
think
We'll add it,
it's a very important item.
consider senior
Um,
services.
So what do you want
Yeah.
to take off in exchange for that?
Do I have two more?
I want to know what we're taking, before we put it on, I want to know what we're taking off to accommodate that.
I mean, my belief is we have a robust senior center. It draws people from other cities who come to our city and our senior center in preference to theirs. To me, just saying consider senior whatever isn't specific enough to be actionable.
Services, I mean, not like programs, like taking trips somewhere. I mean, caretakers, what our seniors
Senior center
need in
sponsors
terms
trips,
of.
last I saw.
No, she's saying not talking about trips,
I mean,
talking
not
about,
trips, I mean,
Caretaking, she's
services,
talking
caretaking.
I don't know how much the city can do in that
I don't know that the
regard.
city doesn't have a role in caretaking, so
Right.
can you be more
I
specific?
think the county doesn't have a role either, so it's something we should have a role in. We are taking care of, we talk about community services.
We do have
Or-
two case managers
Yeah.
that people can go to.
She's actually, I think,
And then-
talking about care provision.
Right.
I don't think that's our role.
And so,
But we,
and they can.
we are not taking care of them, but we can help provide, provide more education for how to take care of seniors, so that more people can learn that and get.
Vocational training.
So you're talking about a vocational training program for caregivers?
Yeah, and I have heard also some seniors actually need income, and if we can help them to connect them with possible income jobs they can do helping other seniors, we are helping their quality of life.
So do you want to
I don't know exactly what we can do, but it's something is important for us to look at.
So that's exactly what the case managers should be doing, is they should be helping the people, referring them to the agencies that are already established, whether they're local or county agencies, and helping them out, getting them in the right direction.
But I think
But
it's
that's
not
case by
just
case.
agencies. I
Yeah.
mean, I know, like, I have a relative who's a senior, but she's, 65, and she helping take care of someone that was close to 100, but it was not through any agencies. It was happened to find someone that needed that service, and there was no website or anything. It was all word of mouth. I mean, there's no connection system, and I don't know if we could do something to facilitate that, or would that
So
be the
maybe
senior?
My
Proxim-
personal experience in the city is I needed help with my mother. I went and scheduled an appointment. We met in the Cupertino Senior Center with a case manager, and he walked me through insurance, which was medical insurance, which was my particular need. But those case managers are equipped to help people of low income means, all kinds of things, right? It's a great service, I think, that we're providing to our residents, and I would suggest that that's exactly what it takes. It takes somebody sitting down and listening to what's needed, who has a lot of resources at their fingertips and can direct. I mean, we don't have city funding to do much more than that.
Right.
And
I mean, but
think
we can
it's a
publicize the
good
services
service.
that are available. I
Yeah.
think that's,
Sure.
I think
Or
in a
maybe
lot of
have-
cases, that's the problem, is people, I mean,
People don't know.
until today,
Yeah.
I didn't know about it. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, you could add to what
Maybe
We can include that.
education, outreach. So I hope maybe Parks and Rec Commission can take a look at this issue and see what we can do, or what we have been doing, and inform people about that.
How about the Senior
will-
Advisory Council?
Yeah, we can add that to their work plan. That
Senior
they need to
Advisory
do more
Council is
outreach
not
about
our
the
city.
services that are
Services
available.
provided. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, those caseworker services that we provide are really pretty
It's-
unusual.
and I
It's-
understand we did
I've
have a
never seen
senior
anything like
commission
this in
at
any
one
other
time.
city I've worked.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's even been times when they've gone with a senior to the doctor's appointment to help out. I mean, this is far above and beyond
We had
any
a-
other city I've ever
A
worked
few
in.
years ago, we had a big struggle. We were at capacity, and we eventually agreed to fund a second position. So yeah, I think we're doing a lot better than most entities in this
We are.
in this respect.
But I
So a
agree.
lot of
I agree
things
that we
we-
can do
And
better
this is
outreach.
money coming out of the general fund.
Okay, we can improve the outreach to the community regarding the types of services that are offered.
Okay, so we're going to have to
Okay.
wrap up here pretty soon, so.
Okay, so one thing I mentioned that I think under public engagement and transparency, we don't really have two-way engagement. And so I think before we had an item about open town hall or open sound, so that we could look at that, but it didn't work out. But it seems then we should still continue to explore how can we have meaningful engagement on issues people care about.
Oh, you were talking about Open City Hall? Open City Hall, is that what it was?
Yeah,
If
that's
that doesn't
been
work,
talked
then
about
what
for
works?
years, and
Find out what
it's never come to fruition. So,
Bill can address that.
Bill, when are we going to have this?
So the application is actually up and running right now. One of the challenges that we have is how do you moderate the speech that's going on there? So do we just let it go free flow? So, and I think that's one of the issues that we have, right, is that it could turn into a quagmire like Nextdoor is right now, where it's just an online forum to let people complain. And then when someone says something positive, they just get beat up. So, and so the question is, how do you moderate that? So we talked about this at the last time, and there were some questions about First Amendment rights.
Right.
Who's going to do this? So we have the tool. The tool's there. So we just need to get a little direction on how you want to utilize that tool. So do we just open it up and say, hey, we're looking for thoughts on this?
I think it'd be a far better thing to utilize and for the city to put its social media resources into than Nextdoor has proven to be.
Yeah. So we are not trying to figure this out here. It's just this is an important item the city has worked on, and we haven't really have an item that talk about what doesn't work.
Okay.
Or have we looked at what other cities are doing that may work? So that seems we need to continue to look at that.
So
in
put it
short,
back
I
on?
support putting this on the work program.
So put it back on. So if we have to take something off of the work program under this goal, what would you take off? Well, first of all, are the three to add City Hall back on?
New sister city relationship. I would take that off in a heartbeat.
I know you would. How much time does that, because the new sister city is really handled by a sister city committee. It's not.
Time sink for
how
staff.
much time does it take for the city to do that?
I would say that's a smaller effort, but I would have to ask Brian if he were.
Well, wasn't this just a legal ruling?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and then
However,
discretion on where
sounds
we.
like mainly illegal.
What's that?
It sounds like a lot of city attorney.
Right.
So
It
it's
sounds
not
like-
necessarily.
Right.
So
It sounds like it's kind of done, except we don't
It's
know
just
how to.
increasing
do
your
it.
city
one
attorney
of the things,
budget, basically.
one of the things that we can do is look at what other cities have done in the
Right.
past. My personal experience is they've had Peak Democracy, which used to be Open Town Hall. That was the name of it before.
That was the name. It's just
Yeah,
been
and they've
rebranded now,
abandoned
right?
it, to be candid with you. But we can go out and do more research of the surrounding cities and see what they've done.
Yeah, and we've seen what happened with Facebook, and the abuse by certain people, and it has happened in other cities. And do you leave all that stuff up? And what's the First Amendment policies about doing that? So it's a lot more complicated than I think any of us
That's fine,
anticipated.
but think about the fact that the city is putting a fair amount of money into pushing information out on Nextdoor.
Right, I would.
We are investing in that as a communication channel.
Right, and that's a
And
for-profit
it has
company.
so many problems, I think we should abandon it and find something better.
Well, I would
So
definitely
put it-
be in favor of abandoning Nextdoor if you want to put that on the work plan.
It takes about 2
So-
seconds.
So number 5, roadmap
Okay, hold on.
project. Does
Hold
this
on.
fit
Before we-
under that?
Wait, we didn't finish this last one.
Before we do that, I want to make sure that we've got action. So this open city hall or open town hall, we're going to put it back on the work program to investigate how other people do this in terms of moderating the forum,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then we'll bring results back to council, is
Yeah,
that,
I
okay?
mean, I guess
Yeah.
since Nextdoor is a private company, they are able to do the moderation, but it's not really
Yeah.
working.
It's not
So I'm willing to take the logo off. I don't like the logo, but I think it's more important to have two-way engagement with the citizens first.
Okay, so first of all, do I have a third to add on the open city town hall action? Okay, so there's a
You
third.
counted me, right?
Okay, now there's a fourth. Okay,
Yeah.
now, who wants to take off the
Wait,
news?
and how big was that?
It's probably somewhere between small to medium. There's some research involved. I would say it's probably, Bill, is it on the smaller end?
Come on.
The smaller end to reinvestigate open town hall or open city hall? Small, so less than 100 hours.
So what's the commissioner handbook update? What do you,
So that was
Why
as
is
a
that
result of
necessary?
the subcommittee's work on the communication with commissions document. And what resulted was a commissioner handbook update, and then what's not on the work program that I'm going to do operationally is the update to the liaison handbook. Those
Okay,
two
you know
things.
what, the new sister city thing, we can put that off till next year because
Okay.
with what's happening anyway, it wouldn't
happen
It
till-
wouldn't happen
yeah.
this year anyway,
Okay.
so.
Number 3 is off.
So take number 3 off if everyone else is okay with that.
I was saddened to hear that the Italian students will not be coming.
Right,
because of the
that
virus.
was too bad, but apparently they've had a big outbreak in Italy now.
Oh, no. Okay, so number 5, the roadmap project, were you asking me what that is?
Yeah.
So what it is like a flow diagram, like we have for a lot of this process, so that anybody in the public, for a public-facing process, can see where they are in a process. So, for example, if council decides to keep the gateway process, a project that starts there, everybody would kind of know where the status of the project is in that flow diagram.
So this is for
All
development projects?
No, it's
it's
for all publicly facing processes, whether it's the
Oh,
Public
okay.
Records Act, whether it's the gateway process, whether it's a permit process.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, getting
But this is really operational. We won't be approving this, right? It's
No, I think you should
Just-
approve it because it's going to have number 1 high vis, and I'm asking to put pretty big resources against
okay,
it.
great.
It'll all departments, it's just more
Great,
transparency.
Okay. So another item that I think for transparency is we have had development projects that's proposed, but the public didn't know. It would be in the pipeline for a whole year and then pops up. So I'm wondering, is it possible that we have notification as soon as the project is deemed complete? I think this applies to ADUs or any other renovation, so that so we are not applying to just one thing. Just overall, if we have complete application that's posted somewhere, or notify maybe immediate neighbors. So it's just to improve transparency. That's one thing. Another thing is that I find out that currently, when a project applies for density bonus, we don't have a form that they need to provide specific things to justify for waiver, for concession, or exception. It's more like, okay, we would read somewhere there is exception. But I find that for like San Francisco, they have a form and they need to fill out, I'm applying for this exception, and then here are the justifications. So it's easier for people to figure out what they are asking for. Right now, it seems we don't have a form. Is that true?
That's correct. So right now, we do not have a form, but we're in the process of developing a form as well as the ADU checklist. So I would consider that as a sort of operational item. But right now, you're correct. Right now, we rely on the applicant to submit their justification, but not on the city form.
So we will now have a form that say you must provide this to justify.
Yes, we're looking to
Okay.
provide that, yes.
And good. Then the main thing is in terms of notification to improve transparency.
So is that possible to be able to notify once, well, actually, if the roadmap project is successful in mapping out all those processes, we could put a little thing in there about notification.
We have a lot of different project types. So, whether it's
On large projects?
what's our threshold?
What's your
Is it
threshold?
tree removal? Is it,
It's
there's a
just
lot of different permits.
just
So-
something to consider. We're
Okay.
not trying. I'm not
Okay. We'll
specifying
take a look at that.
exactly what.
Sure, we'll
Okay.
take a look at that.
So,
We're not talking citywide notification necessarily. It could be someone applies for whatever, and we say, okay, we're going to notify the neighbor on each side and in the back and across the street.
So I'll say currently the city code includes notification specifications for different types of projects. And so would this work item be looking at those current notification requirements and determining whether we want to expand them to have to other types of projects, or also have some notification occur earlier in the process. And
Right. I mean,
we
one of the
could
members
study
of the
that and
public
bring-
mentioned, you know, even though for an ADU, there's really no recourse because of state law, at least it would be good for the neighbors to know, you know, maybe they could talk to each other. But we make it clear that, you know, this was approved ministerially, you really have no recourse, but this is what's going to happen. I mean, would that be illegal to do that?
Yes, we advised on this last time. It's not illegal to do.
Right, okay.
So the issue, right, okay. I think you're
So-
just throwing out a list here.
Okay, so are we having many more ads, or? Mike, open mic.
Our residents care a lot about access to retail and services, and that affect our quality of life a lot. But other cities have ordinances that help keep moms and pop shops or help maintain a good mix of retail and restaurants. We don't have anything in Cupertino. So I think we need a healthy retail ordinance that help maintain what residents need. Good mix of retail and restaurant, or for example, maintain enough gas stations before they all turn into hotel, and medical facilities. The limit on this means that this type of businesses might get lower rent because there is a restriction on what can go in, right? So then that would go further in protecting this kind of business. So that's something I hope to consider.
So do I have a second on that, or third? Okay, so that's no second or third.
So
You know, this is, you could say that part of this is the council's fault. Every time an alcoholic beverage license comes up on consent, it's automatically approved. If we are really serious about, you know, fewer restaurants and more retail, we don't have to approve all those. But they're just approved as a matter of course, because without that, a restaurant is not viable.
That's not what I'm talking about. For example, I think San Francisco and Palo Alto all have these special ordinances to keep franchise business out of certain areas. So that then that means individuals, small businesses might have a chance of getting lower rent because franchise business can
They're
go
not
there.
allowed. Okay,
Yeah.
well, why-
So
you
like
should've said that.
Las Gatos, they in their downtown area they have a their restaurant needs conditional use permit because there are too many restaurants. So they are trying to keep a mix, and so that in order to have a restaurant, you need special approval, and that also keep the other retail the rent for the other retail down.
Do I have
So
a-
I want to look at what other things are there. That's just things I know.
Okay, is there a second for that?
I can't support this. I mean, trying to regulate what sort of commercial businesses come in serving our residents, I think it's a very challenging task to do at all well. And we risk blighting places if we don't allow them to redevelop with the market. So here, I'm an open market person.
I would be inclined to say a study session so that we can kind of understand if this would warrant a work program item.
A second on the study session?
Maybe study session in the next calendar year, right? Then
Okay. Yeah, study session in the next calendar year.
All right,
Okay.
fine.
and
It's,
sorry, another
hold on,
thing.
Hold on.
Okay.
On retail,
You want
healthy,
to regulate.
mixed-
You want to regulate
healthy-
retail mix, as I understand
healthier,
it.
Retail
healthy
mixes.
retail ordinance, I would call it.
I would say maybe how to incentivize more diversified
Retail.
retail.
Oh, sounds good.
So is there a third?
Hmm?
I'm asking for a third.
You can ask Darcy.
Okay, I'll ask Darcy. Huh?
For a study session to
didn't say
find
that.
out what other cities
So
are doing.
we'll ask Darcy.
Oh, okay. You're just asking a study
Yeah.
session what other cities are doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Without
the third.
committing,
Find out
without
if we are-
committing to this.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just a heavy lift in terms of even getting a study session together, so I need three.
Right. So what do you want to remove, Leon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you want to remove?
But if it's just a study session, are you saying we need,
It's still staff time.
Still a
the
lot of
Bunch
staff
of staff time to
Yeah.
prepare.
Or I can come back and propose what we'll remove in trade.
Yeah.
Would that be better?
well, yeah, but maybe even instead
I
of
think-
using the term remove, simply adjusting or kind of slightly shrinking something else for a
Yeah.
few hours for a study session.
It's not going to work.
No.
So it's removal. It's removal.
I'll just throw out, a lot of this, if you want to have additional budget, could be done by consultants too. Like, you could say, well, we don't have the staff time for this, but
Right, and
we're
then,
willing
then
to
we have to budget more money for
That's
that.
right.
There's
There's
only-
and there's some staff oversight
Yeah.
of consultants too, so.
There's only so many
So
resources.
maybe next time we see a list of items that fall under planning, and then we will have more idea. I
Okay.
think a lot of
Oh,
the
we should do them.
items under community development are housing commission studying things that I'm not sure how much is the staff involvement on those items, so.
Okay, so
We
it
can
sounds
look
like
at
we'll
that.
have to drop that study session because we don't have anything else to take off. Is that true?
No, I think we will have a whole list next time, and then, so we have an overview of what's there.
Here's what I'll
right?
do, is we'll take it in, we'll see how much of an effort it is estimate, and we'll propose a removal in trade for it.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
How's that?
Okay.
I'd
I
sure
mean-
like to hear just, we'll propose a trade.
Yeah, I'm just still going to say removal.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing is public safety is one of our goal. So, but then only one item was under public safety, that was the emergency plan. And so but then I find out we have block leader and neighborhood watch program for many years.
Yep.
And I think that needs to be revitalized.
Totally, and it's in operations. Yes, I am
And-
revitalizing them now.
And how we can use that to help improve public safety.
That's exactly right. And
So
they should
that's
be connected. They should
in
be
operation.
Right, it's already,
Good.
it's already there.
And
yeah.
I hope that we also have Cupertino 311 program, but I hope to get statistics on this program so we know what people are
complaining about. Can we get
and
statistics
do
out of
we
the
have that
Yeah.
easily should be already there?
Yeah, we're actually developing a dashboard that's going to give you that exact information.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then that would, help with transparency also.
Yeah, maybe you can do at a future council meeting, once you have that,
Bring it
do a
up.
presentation on,
Yeah.
what people,
We'd love to.
what people's big concerns are.
So, with all due respect, we're coming
we have
up
to
on
finish
almost
up.
10 o'clock, and
Oh,
so,
so one more thing, sorry. It's a planning also, but I really do think, I see that in San Jose, for ADUs, they have pre-approved plans for ADUs that from specific vendor, then it's much faster for people to use pre-approved plan to do ADUs. I'm hoping we can also provide that kind of thing.
okay?
I second that. I think we ought to do everything we can to streamline ADU production for the owners in our city that are willing to build
Okay,
more
do I have-
housing. And
do I
I
have a
spoke,
Third,
I spoke,
Okay.
was it yesterday
You
to
got it.
Greg Popovich,
okay.
Okay.
who says
Okay.
he's struggling to get anything done in our city. It used to be just, and San Jose is a breeze. It used to be just the opposite
I'm
2
getting the
years
same
ago.
feedback.
Mm.
Same
So one
feedback.
more thing for public safety, I think we have a lot of sensors, but what people really care about is break-ins.
Is
I
what?
think break-ins.
Break-ins, car
I think
break-ins.
there are sensors I heard that will be low. It can keep track of license plates. so it's a lot easier. It doesn't invade privacy much, but then can be.
Councilmember
I'm
Chow, it
wondering
depends
if
on who you're
that's-
talking to. So
Oh.
what you're talking about is LPR, license plate recognition. Some people are all gung
Definitely
ho,
opposed.
and some
Some are
people
all-
hate it.
So then the main thing is, okay, break-ins, and what technology are there that could help?
So there is technology that could do it. The reality is, though, and this is what we get from the sheriff's office, is that they could actually be there when a break-in happens. Per policy of the county, they will not chase the vehicle if it looks like it's dangerous. So the one thing that we can do, and I don't know if you want to explore this, is cameras, that are picking up license plate information and that, but the chances are that the license plate may be stolen, the vehicle's stolen, they're going to dump that as soon as possible. So we can look at technologies for that, but
I think there were residents who approached us and asked, can they install camera for their own street?
Yeah,
That-
I've met with those people,
Yeah.
and for every person that wants a camera, there's
People
18
that
people who
don't
do
want
not
it.
want a camera. Same problem we have with actually Civic Center Plaza
Right.
right here.
Yeah.
We had to
With the
turn off the
library.
camera because of just privacy
But then
issues.
it's, if their whole block agrees with that, do we have a way to allow that?
I
we have-
suppose, but you'll never get a whole block to
Right.
agree with it.
So-
I met with a whole neighborhood.
So,
Yeah.
considering what's happening tonight, maybe we need an ordinance like San Jose has. When council meetings go beyond a certain point, the whole council has to vote.
To go
I
past
think
the.
I think it might even be in 15-minute blocks there. I can't remember if
okay.
it's 15, because
I second that.
Because yesterday I was talking to my neighbor, and she is just livid about what's happening with our meetings and how long they go and the endless talking.
Palo Alto
We have got
has-
to do something about
Sorry.
this.
Palo Alto also
Last
has
one,
a vote.
last
If they
one.
go past 10:30, they have to vote.
I'm done.
Last
Okay.
one, the
There
cell
are some
towers.
procedures.
So
Robert.
can we put that on a work plan, something about
Well-
if it's 10:30 or 11 that we have to vote?
There are procedures in Rosenberg's rules that you've just adopted. You could have a motion to adjourn, and there could be time limits to that. So you could say, I move to adjourn in the next or by 1 o'clock or something like that. And then so that would be a way to use your existing tools to limit the time the meeting goes forward.
Speaking of which,
Okay, I
this
make a
meeting is now
motion we
2
adjourn
hours
by
and
10
15
o'clock.
minutes over
Okay.
Yep.
time.
Right.
I move
Okay.
we adjourn.
So sorry.
So you're
One,
done?
one item is cell towers. Cell tower ordinance, I understand we will have study session
This year.
this calendar year.
Correct.
But I think
This fiscal year.
this will be an ongoing issue. We might want to add an item so that we continue to examine that and follow the FCC changes. And then another thing is tree protection. I think we had someone writing to the city about our tree protection ordinance, as we have a lot of development projects that cut down protected trees. And so this will be permanent change. We will be losing our urban forest going on. So should we
So do I have a
examine that?
second on that one?
I need to
But
go.
I know this
third?
is a lot.
No third. Okay. So it looks like we're adjourning.
I
So
need to go,
So Deb,
You can't take,
No,
you can't
because
take
that
any more.
closed.
votes.
Deb, we did add an item to transportation, and we didn't take anything away.
We will. I'll do it. We'll do it. So just as a reminder, CIP slipping, we will establish new dates. I'll need to confer with council to make sure that we can get some dates that are locked in. The two CIP blocks that you see here will move in tandem with each other. So obviously that will drive which meetings you adopt what. And that's the close. Thank you.